Alright, let's dive into this because it's a move that's got the baseball world buzzing. The Orioles trading Dean Kremer to the Minnesota Twins for Jhomnardo Reyes. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me just say this. Personally, I think this trade is way more fascinating than it seems on the surface. It's not just about swapping a pitcher for a prospect. It's about strategy, timing, and the bigger picture for both teams. So let's break it down. First off, Dean Kremer. The guy's been with the Orioles since 2020, and while his 6.50 ERA this season isn't exactly eye-popping, he's been a reliable back-end starter. What's really interesting here is what this trade suggests about the Orioles' mindset. They're in the wild card hunt, just 1.5 games back, and yet they're willing to part with a major league arm. In my opinion, this screams confidence in their depth and a willingness to play the long game. Mike Elias, their president of baseball operations, said it himself. They're looking at moves that make sense for the organization, whether short-term or long-term. This feels like a long-term play, and what many people don't realize is that the Orioles are quietly building something sustainable. They're not just chasing a playoff spot. They're thinking about the next 5 years. Now, let's talk about Jhomnardo Reyes, an 18-year-old outfielder from the Dominican Republic, hitting .296 with a .950 OPS in A-ball. That's impressive, but what makes this really interesting is his potential. He's ranked number 12 in the Twins prospect list, and the Orioles just snagged him for a pitcher who, let's be honest, wasn't irreplaceable. If you take a step back and think about it, this is a classic buy low, sell high move. The Orioles are betting on Reyes' upside, and personally, I think it's a smart gamble. International prospects like him are the future of the game, and the Orioles are positioning themselves to capitalize on that. But here's the thing, this raises a deeper question. What does this mean for the Orioles' rotation? Kremer was a solid piece, and with Trevor Rogers potentially on the move too, there's a bit of a shakeup brewing. However, one thing that immediately stands out is their depth. Chris Bassett is almost back from injury, and they've got guys like Trey Gibson and Cade Povich waiting in the wings. From my perspective, this trade isn't just about Reyes. It's about trusting the system they've built. They're not panicking. They're adjusting. And let's not forget the Twins side of this. They're getting a pitcher under team control through 2027, which suggests they're looking for stability. Kremer might not be an ace, but he's a known quantity. And what this really suggests is that the Twins are trying to shore up their rotation for a playoff push. It's a short-term move for them, but a detail I find fascinating is how it contrasts with the Orioles' long-term vision. 2 teams, 2 strategies, 1 trade. It's a beautiful example of how baseball works. So, where does this leave us? In my opinion, this trade is a win-win. The Orioles get a high-ceiling prospect, and the Twins get a reliable arm. But more importantly, it's a reminder that baseball is a game of chess. Every move has implications. Every decision tells a story. Personally, I'm excited to see how this plays out. Reyes could be a star, Kremer could solidify the Twins' rotation, and both teams could end up exactly where they want to be. What do you think? Is this a smart move for both sides? Or did one team come out on top? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your take.